Welcome back to the Sting of Scorpion C31, and today I'll be talking about Necrodeus. But first, a shout out to Angel Guardian Gamer. He makes a lot of fun and fantastic gaming content that I definitely recommend for you to check out, so go check out his channel and subscribe to him. Or else you run the risk of having to hand wrestle with Necrodeus, and losing this hand wrestling match will result in you being his brunch. Ugh. With that out of the way, let's get to it. Necrodeus. Necrodeus is the main antagonist of Kirby Mass Attack. He straight up ambushes Kirby while he is sleeping, and manages to do what no other Kirby villain had done up to this date, being to turn him into 10 weaker versions of himself, and destroying 9 of the 10. The only reason Kirby survived was because of Kirby's own heroic heart had flew off his body and guided him to safety. Necrodeus' goal is simple: seal away or vanquish the light of worlds. Being as Popstar is the brightest star in the galaxy, he goes there to of course plague it. This isn't the first time Necrodeus sabotaged the light from some place, however. He is implied to have created the Sunstones in Floralia in an effort to rob their light. Necrodeus hates the light. DeRoach states if Necrodeus ever saw a rainbow, he would get a headache. Or take this line from Mass Attack for example: the smoke in Volcano Valley protects the Scullies from light, clearly signifying that Necrodeus and his gang are weak to the light and can't go out of their homeland, aka Necronebula, without being hurt by the light outside. They are essentially kind of just sealed within there, which in turn is why they wish to spread darkness. Some assume Necrodeus to be a part of the Dark Matter Invaders, for his powers, motivation, and appearance. However, this is most likely not the case. As Necrodeus' name implies, he is the god of the dead. Necro meaning death, Deus meaning god. His realm or homeland, Necronebula, in turn means Death Star, or the Dead Region. Necronebula overall is a very interesting place, a place untouched by light, said to be a very bad place, and difficult for any mortal to break into. The only way it can be broken into is by vast amounts of light hitting the thing. Getting back at hand, while Necrodeus is called the god of the dead, it seems Necrodeus shares traits to that of a lich. A lich is a reanimated corpse or undead being, particularly one skilled in wizardry or magical arts such as necromancy. Liches, in many cases, strike deals with evil forces in order to retain intellect and maintain a semblance of life beyond death. Just so you'd know, necromancy is the practice of magic involving communication with the dead, either by summoning their spirits as apparitions, visions, or raising them bodily for the purpose of unknown or supernatural means. But anyways, all we really know is that Necrodeus has existed for at least a century due to how long Scullies mature, or so perhaps even longer, who knows. Necrodeus is also implied to have also created the Skull Gang. The Skull Gang consists of Scullies. Scullies themselves are mere grunts. Skullions. Skullions are just matured Scullies who can actually serve Necrodeus. Skullseer. Skullseer is the leader of the Scullies. And of course Necrodeus is the leader of the Skull Gang. The Skull Gang created a shrine to Necrodeus in Necronebula and even worship him as their god. Being as the Skull Gang was most likely created by him, it's easy to see why they'd see him in that regard. Now, you must be wondering, how did Necrodeus manage to go out of Necronebula and vanquish light without being hurt? Necrodeus' scepter. Necrodeus didn't always have his powerful scepter. DeRoach states that he only got his scepter only after the Scullies matured. Its asset also influenced both Necrodeus and the Skull Gang by granting them the capabilities to come out of hiding and giving them the ability to dispel light. Where Necrodeus got the scepter in the first place is yet again another mystery, as well as whom or why one would make such a scepter. Did he make it himself, or perhaps this is yet another imperfect ancient artifact that Necrodeus just somehow obtained? Regardless, the Skull Gang is consistent and makes it so Kirby doesn't interfere with Necrodeus' plans, by bringing him back down to 1 each time he moves from one island to the next. In Volcano Valley, we see a greedy pig known as Skull Lord. Despite his name, he is not really a member of the Skull Gang, and he was just a regular pig who seeked the power of Necrodeus. Necrodeus gave him some of his power, and thus Skull Lord was given form. Kirby, whom now obtained all the rainbow medals, is able to open a path to Necronebula and fight back against Necrodeus, and become whole once more. Necrodeus in turn eats the scepter for Kirby not to retrieve it. Kirby would then in turn defeat Necrodeus, leaving him to fade into oblivion, leaving the Scullies to disappear, and Popstar is restored back to normal. A happy ending, right? Well, don't get your hopes up, as despite it states that the Scullies disappeared, that doesn't mean they actually disappeared out of existence and can still be out there. Truly, there may still be some Skull Gang members out there, or entirely different variations of them out there, even despite of Necrodeus' demise. Who knows? With that, that's all there really is to know about Necrodeus. What do you think about Necrodeus? Would you like to see him show up in a future Kirby game? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more. So long! Welcome back to the Sting of Scorpion Seath